Better. Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me now? Man said it. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
yeah, man, you're good. Yeah, man, you're good. Mhm.
All right. And how are you today? How was your day?
My day was pretty good. Um, I had to chase down a Catholic official for commentary on the gay marriage, but I guess these guys are
Okay.
running from this like water.
All right. Well, I mean, if people are watching, you have to make us wise, because unless it's something that's exclusive for now, I don't know. What is the latest with what you're discussing?
Well, you're talking about persons from the island's clergy refusing to uphold the Pope's statement that they should bless gay marriages, and as a solution society, we do not culture gayness. So there's a bit of back and forth within the ins of the Catholic society and that endorsement going on. Hmm.
Okay. And before you continue any further, do you mind introducing yourself to
All
whomever
right.
is viewing?
All right. To anyone who's viewing, my name is Manasseh Stanislas. I'm a singer, writer, and news reporter.
And where are you from?
The island of St. Lucia, the best.
Beautiful. The best island? You sure
Of
people won't
course.
argue that with you?
Argumentatively, they can, but on the basis of world renowned fame, honeymoon destination, cultural exclusivity, and a few other factors, I don't think the facts could be denied.
All right, let's go. Considering the fact independence is coming up, you might as well hit them on the head with that, right?
Yeah, man, hit them on the head right there. Right there.
Should that be the question of the day?
Hmm.
What's the best country? What's the best island?
This island.
What's the best island in the world?
Yeah, yeah.
That should be the question of the day.
Hmm.
That's gonna be spicy. I don't even think you're gonna get St. Lucians that's gonna agree with you.
I mean, of course they will disagree, but remember, you're looking at somebody that's outside of the culture coming to enjoy the experience.
I got you. I
Yeah. When you
respect
live
it.
it, when you live it, when you live
So
it as your daily life, you don't see the beauty or the uniqueness in it. But somebody outside of it can be taken away by the simplest of things.
okay,
Yeah.
that's like talking to fish about the temperature of the water, right?
Yeah, they don't care about that because they're in the environment that doesn't change.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
So, man, you're taking up the co-hosting today. So, since you're my guest, I'll let you lead. What topic would you like to discuss?
You want me to co-host today? Dupes? Wow, am I mentally ready for this?
No, you're ready to. You're already here. You're already here. So we just want the topic. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss anything. Well, not anything,
Um,
but most things.
the topic of persons who are now trying to expose individuals because I guess they are being cut fruit for whatever decisions they've made.
Why you being so vague? Okay, you don't have to name names, but break that down one more time for the people
Break that
that
down one
wasn't
more
paying
time without
attention.
saying names. I'm choosing not to say names.
You don't have to say names. That's fine with me. I don't care about
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm talking about people in general who are hating and exposing others for their personal choice when they
Mm-hmm.
themselves have decided to go against it, and I guess they're not profiting from it monetarily or other factors. Mhm.
Ooh. Okay. Give an example.
I would say one man's trash is another man's treasure. Would put that in plain context.
No, no, no. I understand that, but I'm saying like, give me like I'm trying to. So I'll give you my interpretation of what you're saying. So like, I mean, you could say somebody's like a sellout. Like they do. We both musicians, and like one of us is like one of us is like, yo, I'm all about authenticity, and my art is my life, and my this and my this, and the other one, Dupes, is like, yeah, but I have to make my money, bro. You understand? So right now I'm on the top stage because I write in this kind of song, and I know this kind of song will get me where I need to go. And you, for example, will say, check Dupes, guys. That man is all sellout, guys. Check that man. That man used to sing R&B and hip hop, and now that man singing Denry segment and soca because that man getting love for that.
Exactly.
I understand. All right. So how do you feel about that?
With the situation I have in mind?
Yeah, I mean, in general, we're trying to be. You can be specific or you could be vague, whatever you want.
Okay. Well, like I always tell people, everything doesn't work for everyone. For sure, everything does not work for everyone. If I take 2 cups of water and put it in flour, it may make a messy dough for me. If somebody else puts that 2 cups of water in the flour, it may make a thick dough for them. Kudos to them.
Okay.
At least their dough will make the perfect cake or whatever bread they're trying to make. But you cannot be hating and say, oh, how comes I use that same 2 cups and I'm at a soggy paste? Yeah. That's where the issue starts. That's where the issue starts. Yeah, that's where the issue starts. So a resentment because your product.
But who's judging who? Who's resenting who? Not to cut you short, like who's resenting who? The person who made the soggy mess that didn't know how to knead the dough properly?
Right.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you should step back and understand probably the speed at which you implemented the kneading process, or did you not add enough flour at the base so you could form a proper dough? All these things are taken into account. But some people just argue because the product doesn't come out just as somebody X, somebody Y did it. No two people can do the same thing. No 2 people can do the same thing and expect the same product.
Okay, but what makes you? What brought that to mind for you?
I growing up in church with singing and the different styles of delivering your song, persons would try to persons would compare me with other people, and they would go back and forth. But there was this one person that stood out and say, hey, leave Manasseh and X person at the individual status because they are 2 unique people with 2 unique vocal talents. You cannot judge the other because one is lacking or the other has this. They both are unique and exceptional people. So you have to appreciate the beauty in whichever flaw they have and accept the greatness that they portray. That spoke to me because.
But I think that is a result of.
Yeah, it spoke to me because even between ourselves, me and that particular friend, we would give each other jokes, and he's like, "Gosh, I wish I could have done that like you. You know, wow, I couldn't have that smooth voice like you." And I tell him, I wish I had that rasp. There are certain things I cannot execute, and my voice is too thin for it. So we compliment each other, we go back and forth. We try to uplift each other, but other people outside are trying to argue our differences.
Now I like that because it goes down to this thing where it's like people make comparisons in order for them to be able to quantify or justify.
Name top.
We talking. We in the middle of something. as soon as we'll catch it. Good to see you. So comparison is a thief of joy, though. Like
yes.
Enjoy things for what they are. Enjoy people and their talents and their contribution to the art for what it is, without judging it. But I think it's human nature, because human nature is just like, you have 2 mangoes there, you want to eat both, but you're checking to see which one you go eat first. Now you want the last taste that passes in your mouth to be a sweet taste. So you're checking to see if you can. But if you ain't cut the mango and at least taste it, you won't know. But that was my contribution to that. Nintas, are you here with us or are you in the audience? I guess he's in the audience. Manasseh. So that's how I feel about what you're expressing. And I totally understand where you're coming from.
I am here with you, my brother. I was just trying to orient myself in terms of what you were saying. So when you call upon me to make my contribution, then I can make sense. That's what's going on.
We will let you know what we're talking about. So Manasseh, being the guest co-host today, in your absence, even your visual absences, we just seen a big N on the screen.
You mean you can't see my
Is,
face?
No, we see it
he
now,
said,
but when you just entered, it was a big
we
N.
see you
It was
now.
a big N.
Oh, I didn't have my makeup as yet. So
So, all right. Well, I've said, Manasseh, for the representative of wherever he's from, please reiterate what you had said about what we were discussing, so he can join in the conversation.
Okay, first off, we started by discussing St. Lucia as being a preferred island, and we had an argument about people who say it might not be, the factors that might lead it to be, and then we jumped into a life experience of, deciding what factors make people unique, and it should not be a thing of competition, but admiring the values in people that make them unique, and just lifting them up instead of choosing someone at preference because they have a particular trait you like.
okay. Can I say where I think is the most beautiful place to be on earth to
Tell me.
live? Actually,
Tell me.
Yeah, cool. Let me hear you. Let me hear your vote.
well, I can tell you, you have to live in Kabigan, where I live. That is Camp of the Brigands in Deriso. Why? Because you're close to God and you're close to nature. That is
Oh,
the
you're
best.
behind God's back. That's what you're trying to say. You live behind God's back. Okay.
Well, whether it
Okay.
is behind him or in front of him, we are still close. We're closer than you are.
You tell me in the
Yes.
north of the island, why is on his shoulder. Moshi's almost on the shoulder. Close enough.
The shoulder, God have a stiff neck, and so be careful. You can't turn.
I tell
But
you.
but Saint Lucia is unique, and if you allow her to inspire you, most definitely she's going to be one of your most favorite places on earth.
That is my boy. Tourism, the tourism board needs to hire you for marketing purposes. Yeah. You see, people like this need to be in the competition.
He went right for the tagline, yo. He went right for the tagline. Like, if anybody was a sellout on that call, is him.
Nitas, you need to be on the SLHTA, you know.
But let me tell you something. I'm patriotic to the bone. It does not matter where I am or I will end up in this life. I am a Saint Lucian, moi c'est Saint Lucien. And every opportunity I get and every excuse I get to talk about my island, where I was born, I will. And you can give me a palace of gold and take me to Ambrosia or wherever it is that you think is better. It can never compare to my island, St. Lucia. So this is the best place to be. And then as it relates to
okay, so
an
basically the
individual,
anthem, wheresoever you may roam,
love
love
our
your
island home. That's correct.
That's it. Kudos to the person who wrote that. And
Litton
it's
Thomas,
nice
he
to know
passed
that.
away actually. He passed away, so condolences to his family, Sir Litton Thomas.
Oh, I did not know Sir Litton had transitioned. Okay.
Yeah.
And I need to incorporate him in one of my songs, one of my pieces, just to of course iconize, because and let us pivot on Sir Litton Thomas. If he was a copycat or emulating someone else, or he was forced to, we would not be quoting him today, because he would have been lost in the everybody's the same, and the sameness and the dullness. It becomes dull after a while when everyone is doing it. But if you stay true to yourself, to your unique ability, your tone. I got a snippet of what you said on YouTube, that you were being almost asked to emulate or to be something that's already established. If you want to be yourself and not be compared to dupes or nintas, you have to be yourself. The moment you start emulating nintas, then you will forever be seen as a reference to nintas. And you are your own person. You don't want me in a sentence every time you're being congratulated or this or liked or whatever it is they're going to do. And most certainly, I do not want, when you are taking your pluck and your calotte, for my name to be in it. If I take in my calotte, let me take it alone. And you're only taking yours, deal with it. So be yourself. Sir Litton Thomas was Sir Litton Thomas. And that is why we can quote him today. Dupes is Dupes. Take it or leave it. Like him or not, that's who he is. I personally, I don't want him to change, right? I mean, who else would I get for blaming where I am right now in -4 degrees, um, trying to change my musical journey? I couldn't find anybody else. So you get what I'm saying? Just continue being yourself.
Pressure. Pressure. He's under pressure, man. He's under pressure. He's freezing. Every time one of us posts how cold it, pressure does make diamonds. Every time one of us says how cold it is, Manasseh makes sure he tells us how warm it is. So you're getting a good contrast and a good juxtaposition. Right, right whenever
St. Lucia is beautiful. 83 degrees. What could I ask for? Rain pattering on my windshield. Lovely.
Well, I checked the last time, the last picture, the first picture I took when I came up here, and compared it to how I look. And I can guarantee you I'm about 5 degrees less black than I was. I checked it. I have a blackometer.
Less black.
Yeah, I checked my blackometer. It told me that I have shifted.
He has a melanin meter. Melanin
boy,
meter.
You're the best boy. You didn't say 5 shades darker, 5 tones darker, 5 degrees. Thank you. Thank you.
He has a melanometer. A melanometer.
A melanometer. Why?
Somebody better give us some money to
records degrees of blackness.
To patent that. Of course, someone has to let us patent that thing. You know,
somebody have to give us money to patent it. But it's when we patent it, we get in the money.
Yeah, man.
No, they like the word already. So give us money to move forward.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll put that as the next question on the Q&A on the chat, just in case anybody wants to contribute.
A melanometer.
Yeah, man. It has a nice
melanometer.
ring to it. That's a nice ring.
For sure.
Melanometer.
I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna ask a different question then.
You ought to be yourself.
Yeah, you guys go ahead.
You have to be yourself. Nintas has to be Nintas. I have heroes. There are models. There are model citizens. There are some not so model citizens that I also emulate. You can't always. You have to find good in something and someone, and others may not see that person as that. Perhaps they're too bold-faced. They're too upfront, or you know, whatever it is about them. But there are things in there. So I want to say that everyone that you admire does not have to be with a green tick next to their name in society, by society.
Right.
Validate the person for what you see in them that you want to celebrate. And before, I used to think, and that also restricted my art, because I used to compare myself and measure myself by a guy who has accomplished great things. I don't even know the first thing about art, and I want to put myself in that conversation and measure my nothing person to an individual who's on television, who's making money and whatnot. I had to, again, it's all part of your evolution. I had to say to myself, this is not what it's about. And I don't think a replica of him. Instead, be an inspiration. So I had to be myself. I used my models, I used my idols, I used my exemplars in society as my inspiration, and I forged myself as me. And that's what I can say to you. Be you. I want to clap and bow or admire you because of you. Not because you can rap like Dupes or better than him. I don't even think these words like better or whatnot should exist in a context like that. It removes the
last person I think that has that issue is Manasseh. I don't think Manasseh has that issue. I think he boldly goes where he deserves to go. He knows what he's doing for the most part. At least he presents that. And I think he just mentioned the topic just to spark the conversation and see where things could go. You know, and I appreciate him doing that. I appreciate what you say about being yourself. There's being yourself and knowing yourself. Some people are busy being themselves without knowing who they are. But what are your thoughts on that, Manasseh? Do you know thyself?
I had a conversation with my
supervisor today about that same thing. They were talking about having relationships in your transition phase, preteen to adulthood before 25. And she was saying that knowing yourself and understanding the person that you are dictates the partner that you will, how she said, pull in your life from the universe. It made me just think for a second. You are what you receive. It made me remember you are what you receive. Because if you put out
what
trash,
you eat.
that as well, you are what you eat. So if you put out trash out there, if you put out a trash personality, a trash demeanor to everything that you do, you can't expect good things or high quality products to follow you. That doesn't make sense. The law of attraction doesn't allow for that. Yeah.
But the
So it
world
made
is
sense.
hard, bro. Everything's negative, and everybody's so depressed, and like Howard, how am I supposed to deal with this? There's so much pressure. I mean, if I don't make $100,000 a week, my girl's gonna break up with me.
I'm broke or this or that.
That's what all the noise. Well, you see, that's the noise that we're hearing. How do you become the signal in that noise?
So when you know yourself, the noise cancels, and now you have peace and you have a one-eye focus and knowing that this is where I'm headed and the steps I'll take to get there may take a while to form, but if I'm consistent and if I'm dedicated, the change will spur around me for that receiving. That's what it is.
Dupes, can I just chime in there?
Today. Nintas, I need to hear your side of this. I'm muting my mic, but unmute your mic. I need to hear
don't
Nintas'
ever stop the noise around me. Please make the noise. Because if I'm not creating waves, if I'm not getting your attention, then I have become irrelevant. I am an influencer. I'm a trendsetter. And when I impact you, you need to react. Give me the reaction. Cry, shout, cuss me, clap. I don't care. Let me know what I'm doing. Right? I might target you. It might be intentional. It might be circumstantial, but I need to know that I have purpose. And I don't know myself, bro. I'm knowing myself. I am knowing myself. I'm not finite. I'm going somewhere. And I will meet people along this journey. You, Dupes, others, Mecca, big up to him. And as I interact with each force, it will make an indelible mark on me, whether I receive it into my space or I reject it. Any of the reactions are reactions. Any of my responses are responses. And this is what I want to know is to say, okay, you have reached, you're gonna stay there. I'm growing.
You're the eldest on this call, just out of just age-wise. Maybe not anything else, but age-wise. Do you think that point of view is different because of the experiences that you've had? Like, because when I listen to you, what you said, I would break that down to, like, if I synthesize it, is that you value feedback. But there was a point at which where you were getting that feedback, but you were still continuing to be you. Like you said, like when you were teaching and you had your hair and the way you dress and the way you behave, you were getting a lot of judgment, but you were still going straight on. Do you believe that, one, your experience, age, is allowing you to appreciate or need more feedback than before when you may be someone like Manasseh or maybe just a slightly bit younger like myself?
All that you said there is very much correct. It may be my experience more or less, or my age. And you alluded to the responses and feedback that I was getting for just me being me. But it's phases. You will be in an environment where when you hear the feedback, you know that this is not going to deter you or change your course. Right? You know you're doing the right thing. That feedback, that bump in the road, is not one of the defining factors in the direction you take. And depending on where you are, that feedback is what's going to draw you in another direction, or to it or away from it. So sometimes you have to stay the course, even though the road is bumpy or what the forces are coming. And there are times you have to move away from. So there you're taking a different course. And there are other instances where you draw towards what is being said, and that is all part of knowing yourself, discovering, being vulnerable, always be vulnerable. Some people see this as a negative word. I don't. Go ahead, bro. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. In regard to that part, it made sense to me because growing up, if you do not have a sense of acceptance and knowing who you are and letting people dictate who you're supposed to be, it's really a hell of a ride when you have to be taking critiques or criticism and now trying to reshape your whole personality in that moment. And then 5 months later, somebody tells you no, and then you have to wonder, are you doing a good thing or a bad thing? But if you are genuine to your cause and you have been consistent at your craft or consistent with whatever changes that you are planning to make, then it should not bother you what somebody tells you now or 3 months later if they don't see that light of you and then they told you, oh, this is not good. Because growing up, I had that issue. I really had that issue because persons expected me to be so much and so much different at a younger age, and so many things were placed on me. And I'm like, how do I shape into all that? But when I reached about 18, 19, I understood that people cannot dictate what you are. They can only say what their opinion is, but that should not be the factor that determines who you are as a product.
I respect it. I think when you're creative, when you're forward facing creative, whether it be a writer, an artist, when I say artist, like, whether it's visual artist, a musician, Eddie Murphy, I'll never forget what I was watching an Eddie Murphy interview, and it was like, do you watch the reviews from your movie? And he was like, no, because if you're gonna believe the good stuff, then you have to believe the bad stuff too. And I'm not about the bad stuff. Yeah, I want to get better, but the rate at which I get better and the levels at which I get better will be up to me and not left to someone whose job it is to just criticize what I'm doing. And I love when I have conversations with people. I was having dinner with some people the other night, and they were like, yeah, you got to take that word out of it, constructive and criticism and all of that. Give feedback, give guidance, because criticism it has really just become, people feel like you put something out, you send it for them to hear. Yeah, boy, your bass, the way your bass and you are singing and I'm like, well, my worst song is than the one you never put out. But I'm a hyper creative, I'm hyperactive, and I genuinely believe that my purpose as an artist is to tell my story so that those that have loved me, those that I care for, those that have cared for me, can look back at the music and the videos and stuff that I created and remember this is who he is. And I also created for myself. I don't take down any of my songs where I was singing off key or I couldn't rap in time or none of the, because I get to see the progress. You know what I'm saying? I get to see like, oh boy, real thought you could have sing there, boy. But now you're doing it.
My OCD has had me cringe. There are certain songs I want to review in life, and I'd be like, boy, what the hell was I doing? I remove it, I honestly
understand. I understand.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit me. But I can't. I have a responsibility to leave it there because
I used to do something with my students, my music students, called Meet the Artist. And you could have used that video where you were totally off, you were at sea, and present it to my students and say to them, take a look at this and tell me what you think. And then put the guy who's there now in the present in front of them and give me a comparison. Tell me what you see. Everything has use and can be used. Go back and find that video and do a review of yourself and write it and put it under the video. And when I do a music class, I will pull up that video and my students can read that this guy is not perfect. He started somewhere. He needed to find notes. He needed to work on his breathing. You know, his expression. And see where he
Manasseh
is
never
now.
sang a bad note in his whole life. That's cap. This boy came out of the womb. Out of the womb sounding like Johnny Gill, man. My.
I will contest this. I have sung a few bad notes in the life. It's rare. It's one in maybe 15,000, but it's still part of the rare.
One in 15,000.
Yeah.
I love it. Nah, man, we love you, bro, and we know
But
we've
bro,
all had our.
do you know people make money?
That's what we used to call it.
People make
Nitas,
money
you remember
for
that? You remember if you fought Compre, anytime you play a bad note, everything stops and
that?
they just say faux pas, faux pas, faux pas. That used to be our thing, you know. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I take licks in choir for faux pas. Boop, sing the right thing. I will not say the teacher's name, our choir conductor. But people.
Let me say something. Is it Miss Lucian guy? No, Miss Lucian was in the South at the time. Miss Lucian.
I shall not.
He just busted files. He just went straight to the. You see, these guys are journalists.
Miss Lucian, tell me Miss Lucian. I know
I'm not a journalist.
Change your name from vocalist to journalist.
I'm not a journalist, so I'll let you get into your own trouble there, not me. I've enough uncles already.
Are we off the record, sir? Are we off the record?
You're off the record. You're off the record. You're off the record. Be free. Be free.
But there are people being paid to be off key. Dissonance is music. There are people a chant. There are people who are paid to be off key. They make money being off key. Yeah. If you listen to a lot of these folk singers, folk performers, people who do indigenous music, there is
just trying to figure out who they paying. Hold up, Nintas, hold up. I try to figure out who they paying to sing off key.
I was trying to get an example.
That's dissonance.
No,
you guys know Jericho, right? You guys know Jericho.
Yes, I do.
You know
Jericho's a legend. Jericho's a legend, a perfectionist himself. I know him well.
You know he also is a keyboard player, right?
Yes, musician, yes.
So you know something he always tells me?
He plays piano. The guy can play jazz piano.
There's no such thing as a wrong note.
There's no wrong note. It's just a wrong
That's
choice.
Right.
Or a
That's right. Place. There's no wrong note. Man.
So we feel you, Nintas. We know, but please don't pay me to sing off key. I don't want any more encouragement in my bad singing.
And I mean, if the passage, the musical passage that you put out does not make sense, then you can term it as off key. But if the package with some of those flattened notes and half measures and you know that you are dissonant, it's deliberate. You can't call that off key, you know. Art is daring, it's bold, and it cannot be restricted. If you take some of those indigenous styles and then you listen to it, there's something called atonal music. You can't ascribe you can't ascribe a tonal center to it. It does not want, it disobeys the law of a tonal center, and it's deliberate. It wants to be that way. But that's
ultimately what we want to do is deliver a feeling. That's what we want to do with our music. And if that atonal or whatever that is feels like that, and it brings the reaction that it needs, it's no different than Jimi Hendrix. You know, it's no different than putting a pitch bend on a guitar. It's somebody. These guitars used to be playing so perfect, and someone was like, "Nah, we need this thing to do." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And all of these different things, and that creates the texture. You know,
like the Michael Jackson solo for "Beat It," the long stretch and the deep into the pitch on the bend. Yeah, that's right. The solo. Yeah, all these aspects.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, boy, the R&B boys are in the building tonight, man. So, I mean, we talk about knowing ourselves. We talk about sticking to, allowing ourselves to don't let the comparisons create confusion in our community. Alliteration again. You know I'm a songwriter. Alliteration. And I think those are very powerful points. These are the type of things that we discuss in the bodega. We've been on for about 35 minutes.
41 minutes. 41.
We've been live for 35. So okay, great. He's keeping the time. So I feel we could go for another 10 minutes and somebody bring out a topic that has recently happened that meant something to them. I'll give mine, and Nintas, you can give yours, and the vocalist / journalist can give his. We start with Nintas. Something that happened recently that made, that was poignant to you, that you'd like to either discuss further or just really stood out since last we met.
What really stood out to me was an official on the World Health Board, which came out and disrupted the whole motive of the COVID evolution and how vaccines are just one-off deploy, and they don't have any effect on the human body when it comes to cuffing the COVID and throwing it in the cell. And the man spoke about COVID being in existence for almost 56 years, 1965. And I'm like, damn. A virus in existence for so long, and they told us in 2020 that it was just released in China, December of 2019.
Well, one of these days, we're going to have a discussion on COVID.
We don't have won't let you, now. By the way.
Well,
YouTube should let me, because YouTube should let me.
You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I'm just letting you know that, like, even the technology that exists, it goes, it scrubs, it finds the words, and it says, oh, you said this, you said that. Are you sure you want to talk about that? You sure you want to read this? So I'm just letting you know that these things do happen.
Well, I'm saying this, okay. Palestine needs assistance, and they need to fund them accordingly. YouTube can check me for that. Palestine needs assistance.
Now, listen,
so you said you came with the vaccines. Hold on, everybody gets to make their point. We're not debating these points. Is when you see we get to the week and we don't know what to talk about, we can reflect. So it was the COVID, it was the vaccine, and Quentin is in the chat, and he said they told us when the weaponized version was released to put up a great topic to cover. So that's a great topic to cover. All right. Yeah. And now, Nintas, what was something that has been on your mind and that you'd like to express?
It stemmed from all of the brouhaha that we heard after the jazz lineup was announced. And the debate is ongoing. But what was very instructive is how little we know about the machinations of the industry, and
that is a very big word, Sire. Can you break down that word?
How the industry works. Sorry about that, Mr. Journalist. I know dictionary. I'm a singer. but we immediately, like as of yesterday, there needs to be an intervention in art where in some way you get the public, the people, the consumers, the public, and even practitioners more knowledgeable on art. Art has shaped cities. You go to some destinations and the buildings, that's art. The monuments, how the streets are designed, and where places of interest, even what you eat, culinary art, and we are still in the doldrums. We are in the anus of the art world, and figuratively speaking, meaning we are the back there, and a lot of unflattering things are being said, and it stems from a position of not having the information. We definitely have to find deliberate and incidental learning ways to bring our people to up to knowledge and up to speed on how art is sold, how it is bought, how it should be presented. We have our traditional ways, and we're not saying that there should be a departure from this, but we're saying it should be an augmentation. That you don't want to lose what you have, but you want your people to know when they venture into that area, what they're dealing with. So in a very serious way. And just a while ago, I had a little chit chat with our Nobel laureates. As you know, these guys have been celebrated, and we have all of those lectures and whatnot. But to what extent have we applied what they have excelled in country? We have countries in Africa and one of the most progressive states in the world where our famed economist, his theories were used. He he influenced the Jamaican economy. He influenced the Puerto Rican economy, England, everywhere. And we just celebrate him. We don't even know what's in the theory. Yeah, thousands of dollars, but not so one system. But let me just end, and then I will let you chime in. Um, we say that they did it, but we don't even know what they said. Do you know what's written in the theory? It's not studied. There is not a school. There's not an institution, and there has not been an effort to apply what our famed economist and also our famed literary guru has. Do you have a school of arts where Sir Arthur's work is a subject of study? Um, take that money that you're spending all your lectures and all your these promotions and put them in an action oriented way, so the kid does not become bored when he hears that the celebration is on, but he has been indoctrinated from an activity, an event that, whether it is in school or whatnot, that he participated in, and he's looking for the next version or the next thing. Make it make sense instead of painting it and dusting it with cost with, how you call it, that white sugar they put on your donut. You flour it up, and then you hand it to the people, and it's still just a donut. But
we understand. Powdered.
yeah, go ahead for it.
Yeah, I was saying in agreement. As a society, knowing that Safa only spent 12 years after receiving his Nobel Prize before he died, and not one shift of his writing and his ethos was used in our economic building. And up to this day, we are suffering because we have not used his great findings and his influence on the macroeconomic front, and we are suffering. We are suffering that transversely, and even with the arts, the literary not being given a school for its own housing. Although I see now they're trying to use the Derek Walker Library as a co-feature in the Sahara Louis Community College. I don't know how that will make an impact. They have about 4,500 books from Derek Walker's literary collection, which they say will end, I would guess, make children enthusiastic about the literary. But these initiatives are so minute, they don't cause even a fraction of a hair on the lifespan of what could be done if his teachings are being brought to life, if the reiteration of his poems are being seen, so the culture stays. Whatever is not seen does not stay, and the mind works in a different way compared to your hearing. Whatever you hear is remembered, whatever you see stays. And these are the things which needs to be worked on, especially in this digital age, and shorten attention span.
I was just about to say this, Mr. Journalist. Children know more about cocoa melon, and
because it is seen and heard.
Exactly. That's poetry. What's wrong with you? That's poetry. They know all the baby sharks. Baby shark.
You see? Exactly.
All right.
Make the
but here's the thing.
Part of something that
that's another 45 minutes, and I'm happy to discuss it next week, and it needs to be discussed. And my contribution to that 45 minutes is a prophet
is never honored in his country. That's right.
Yeah, a prophet has no honor amongst his own. I went to Barbados and I saw buildings.
Are you saying that? Let me ask you: are you saying that what they're doing now is not honoring him? Or them?
What they're doing now?
It's only taking a pin. It's only taking a pin and scraping a glass. What they're doing is only taking a pin and scraping a glass. It's barely a hairline. That's nothing. It's nothing. Yeah.
I mean, we can ask honest questions. How many? Let's just go with Derek Walcott. How many Derek Walcott books do you have in your library right now? How many Derek Walcott books do you have in your Kindle?
Zero.
No.
I got four. You understand what I'm saying? I sit and I think to myself, well, we Shakespeare this and we Shakespeare that, and we watch Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and all those things, but no one has said, well, let's take Tijan and his brothers and let's adapt it and let's make something out of it. But I don't want to reveal my $1 billion plan. But hey, so everyone, you got your point, eh? So your point was the laureates, Nintas?
And well, it was kind of really, it was arts in general, because I also touched on the
yes, you spoke on jazz.
Yeah,
you spoke about jazz. And so your initiative is for us to be more educated and more informed and have more resources to understanding how the industry, the creative industries actually works. Manasseh, I don't want to forget your point. What was your point?
My point was about the revelation of COVID and its hidden mass agenda when it has been there.
Mine is going right into the next month, independence. How can we operate better, independent of the structures, whether it be governments or social medias or devices or mindsets? How can we push ourselves forward independently, yet still building community, leaning on each other? That is in the core of everything that I'm doing. Like, rather than do the normal things that I know are guaranteed to bring me money, how do I look within? What am I building from my creative thoughts, using my voice, using my image to build intellectual property, independent intellectual property?
Yeah,
this morning I watched an...
The first step is to leave. I know I don't want to say it, but the first step is to leave, how do you call it? The ECCB or the ECCU, leave the Eastern Caribbean Central Union, and go and form our own currency basis, just like Barbados and Jamaica. And then we'll start to get the ideas. Unless we don't suffer, I think
we have to suffer. I was about to say, do we have the guts? Because there are a lot of St. Lucians that I can pull up and speak to that will tell you their biggest fear. Yeah, okay, resources. Their biggest fear is that we don't have the guts to do what Manasseh is saying, suffer and look internally and say, well, boy, we ain't growing flour here, we ain't growing rice here, we ain't growing this here, so we have to use what we have here and we have to work with it here. You know, so that's where I'm at. Like I said, we're meeting a breaking point. I'm so very happy that we were able to make this time. Manasseh, thank you for acting as a catalyst to get my co-host back on the show. I'm happy because when I review this, I know that we will have topics to discuss. And thank everybody for viewing. Aldonza Gaming is going to win the prize for the week. I don't know what the prize is. I think I have a book there. Look, you're going to have that book next time you see me, Quentin. Hold me to it. It's all yours. Well, he was the first commenter. If you're
giving me any prize, I want the 2 pairs.
No. My present.
I don't get
my presents.
Sorry.
My presence is your present.
What?
And before I go, I want to shout out the Digital Bodega.
Why I blame him for me freezing off my everything? Anyway, peace and love, people.
I know you loving that snow, man. Peace and love, people.
You see,
thank you very
if you
much,
are in the Caribbean climate, you wouldn't have to worry. I'm pleased to be chilling in the West Indies, man. It's 83 degrees out here and I'm cool. Yeah.
Yo, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to end the stream. If you all hold on for 1 second, we'll do a post-mortem. Peace.
Yeah, we can do that.